So in today's video, we're going to talk about Facebook ads. And this particular video, we're not going to get into the how to create it yet, because before you do that, you've got to understand the process and the strategy behind Facebook ads. Now, it doesn't have to be difficult, but there are 6 different things you really need to know. So first, I want to talk about the budget. When you're creating your Facebook ad for the first time, you want to start with a small budget because, like everything else with marketing, it involves trial and error. You're going to have to test this ad and see if it performs well. So don't go crazy with your budget at first. Start small, anywhere from maybe $1 to $5 a day, depending on your marketing budget. The second thing I want to talk about is how you speak to your audience. So when you're talking to a completely cold audience who's never heard of you before, you do not want to try and sell them something. That is not the objective. People have to be taken properly through the entire buying journey before they're going to buy from you. So you guys have heard me say this before, but you don't go up to someone on the street you don't know and tap them on the shoulder and go, buy this from me. It's essentially doing the same thing when you advertise a product to a cold audience. So you want to make sure that the first thing you do is introduce yourself. Who are you? Why are you doing this? What do you have that's going to help these people, and how can it help them? You want to talk to them from a place of helping instead of selling when you first get started. So the best thing you can do for your first ad is a video ad. And again, I know in a previous video we talked about the fact that not everyone's comfortable with video, and you have to do you and what makes you comfortable. So there are other ways to do it with an image as well. With a video, the objective will be to get video views. And if you're not comfortable using a video and you're going to use an image, let's say, then there's going to be a button there that will say something like learn more. And it's okay to send people to your website to learn more about you, but you just don't want to be selling in this very first video. Now, as you go along, you can actually target the people who watched X% of that first video with a second ad. Now, these people, they may not know you well, but they've at least seen you before. You've at least popped into their, on their radar once or twice before. So again, you're still not selling at this point, but here's a great place to offer them something of value for free. A lead magnet, which we're going to talk about in more detail later. But here's where you're going to offer them a PDF or a checklist or something that's really helpful and valuable and can actually help them. And you're going to ask for their email address and their first name in exchange. Then you can get them on your email list and market to them and help them get to know you, like you, and trust you that way. So the other thing that's really important with Facebook ads is to properly target. And what that means is that within the Facebook ad creation space, you are choosing the exact demographic, the exact people you want the ad to be shown to. Now, if you're a local business, then obviously you want to pick your hometown or where your business is located and kind of draw a circle around it, maybe 10 miles, 15 miles, depends where you live and how far people in your area will drive, and just show the ad to those people. Even if you have a larger scale business where maybe you're online and the whole world is could be your ideal client or customer, don't start big like that. It's better to start around your hometown. Still start local, always with your marketing. If you have a small budget, you want to start that way. So when we talk about targeting, we can do things like, do we want males or females? What age group is most likely to be your ideal client or customer? What things are they interested in? Are they, maybe they work as a physician, or they're interested in Irish dancing, or there's so many different things you can pick from in there. So you can basically pick from a few things. One is called the demographic. So that's going to be something like, this person is in the top 25% of earners income level in their zip code. That's a demographic. You can also pick something like interest. This person is interested in dogs. They have an interest in pets and pet food and dog shows and things like that. You can also choose their job. So you can say, I want this person to be a veterinarian. That's who I'm advertising to. So as you can see, there's quite a range of things that you can pick from. And doing that properly is really important. Take 20 minutes, take a half an hour. You can save your audience. The other thing that I want to talk about, and we'll get into more information about this later, is excluding people. So for instance, I was working on an ad for one of my clients, and this particular client is an accounting firm. So we want people that are interested in accounting, right? But we do not want people that are CPAs because they are essentially the competitors. They're the competition. So even though I want to advertise to someone interested in accounting, I want to exclude anyone who is an accountant. And again, we'll get into a little bit more of that later. So number 4 is following Facebook's rules. They have some important and good rules, and some that are a little wacky. Other place I see people get hung up all the time is with pronouns. And as silly as this sounds, Facebook doesn't want you to classify or categorize or insult people. And they've gotten so carried away off the chart with this that it's borders on the ridiculous now. That being said, I was helping a friend who has a weight loss coaching business, and we cannot say things in her ad like, have you gained weight during COVID? Because you're insulting that person that's reading the ad by saying, have you gained weight? So we had to rephrase it to say something like gained weight during COVID, ? The other thing is that you can't even talk about you. So if you start using pronouns like I can help, they'll reject the ad as well. You would have to say something like get answers to most pressing weight loss questions. You have to avoid you, yours, they, theirs, all of those pronouns that make it look like you're talking to or about an individual or a group or anything like that. So that's a challenge when you go to word your ads, but that's the second place that I see people go wrong all the time. The 5th thing that I want to talk about today with ad strategy is that you have to let it run for at least a week, preferably 10 days. And the reason for this is that Facebook's algorithm needs that time to tune in on the exact audience to show this ad to. Yes, you've chosen the demographics. That being said, there's going to be so many people they could show it to, and they want to show it to the right people. They want the ad to be successful. They want to spend your money, and they want you coming back to spend more money. So their algorithm is far better than you and I could ever do targeting an audience. Again, we're giving them the basic outline of who to show it to, but then they're going to put that up and let it run so that they start to see the exact people to show this ad to, the ones who will be interested in it. So let your ad run for at least 10 days, I would say. If you start to see that you're not getting impressions, that means Facebook's not showing your ad. So either your budget is too low, or your targeting is way too restrictive and there's no audience for it. So those are the only 2 cases. Again, I wouldn't stop the ad. I'd increase your budget and I would change your targeting a little bit to include a few more people. Then make sure you're getting impressions. And the 6th thing that I want to talk about is, once you're past that week mark or that 10-day mark, to look at the analytics. And again, you don't have to go crazy with this. You're going to look at things like impressions. If it's getting a lot of impressions, you know the ad is being shown. And if you're getting clicks, you know that people have an interest in your ad. So those things are really good signs. A graph that shows you the average click-through rate per industry in the US. It will surprise you. Most of them are under 1%. So a click-through rate basically takes the impressions, that's every person who had this ad put on their newsfeed, whether they actually saw it or not, we don't know, divided by how many clicks you got, and then times 100 to turn it into a percentage. So you may go, oh my gosh, this ad's doing terrible. And when you take a look at this graph, you may find out you're doing great. So again, I want you to create your strategy before you ever even start to think about running your first ad.